Produce your cause, saith the Lord. Bring forth your strong reasons, saith the King of Jacob. Let them bring them forth, and show us what shall happen. Let them show the former things, what they be, that we may consider them, and know the latter end of them, or declare us things for to come.
There's an old saying that goes like, those who fail to learn from the past are doomed to repeat it. That statement is ever so true, huh? One thing I will tell you, sisters and brothers, is if you don't know Daniel's prophecy, you don't know Bible prophecy. Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, Rome. These four kingdoms are scheduled to rule this world before Christ returns. If these kingdoms do not rule, mark my words, Jesus Christ will never return. So it will behoove you to find out who these four kingdoms are, especially since, spoiler alert, you're currently living in one of them. This is World History Told by the Prophets, Part 1. Babylon. Now, you ready? Let's break this down. Let's kick it off from Daniel chapter 2, because this is where this whole thing started. Let's get it. Daniel chapter 2, starting from verse 1. And in the second year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams, wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep brake from him. Then the king commanded and called the magicians, and the astrologers, and the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans, for to show the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. I want you to pay attention to this, sisters and brothers. This king got a dream, and the first people he called is his people. The sorcerers, the Chaldeans, all the well-known people. Those are the people that is always getting called first. So the king called his people first. Now let's see if they could break down this dream. And the king answered and said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream. Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in Syriac, O king, live forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me. If ye will not make known unto me the dream with the interpretation thereof, ye shall be cut in pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill. The Chaldeans answered before the king and said, there is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter. Therefore there is no king, lord, nor ruler that acts such a thing at any magician or astrologer or Chaldean. And it is a rare thing that the king required, and there is none that can show it before the king, except the gods, whose dwelling is not with flesh. Two things, sisters and brothers. The first thing, why would the king make such an extreme promise? Well, it's because these guys apparently have put him in the mindset that they knew everything. So when I need you, I'm paying you all this money, brother. When I need you the most, you can't tell me what I need? Oh, nah, I'm going to kill you. Not only you, I'm going to kill every last one of you. So it makes sense why Nebuchadnezzar would say that. And the other thing that I found so I would say full of himself. He said, there is not a man, quote, there is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter. So these guys, because they think they don't have the answer, they think nobody else don't have it. That sound familiar today? Sisters and brothers, it's the same thing in every generation. We got people in high places today. If the president or somebody in high positions of power call for anything concerning the Bible, who's the first people they're going to call? You think they're going to call people like us? People like the Israel of God? They ain't going to call us. They're going to call people like T.D. Jakes, Joel Osteen, all these well-known popular people who don't know nothing concerning the Bible. And when they can't answer it, then they're going to operate like if nobody else don't know, because, hey, man, we're all men. We don't know this. But I'm carrying off. Listen, I'm going to try my hardest not to rant throughout this lesson. Let's get back to him. The king called them, and they can't answer the dream. So let's see what happened after that. For this cause the king was angry and very furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon. And the decree went forth that the wise men should be slain, and they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. Oh, now they're calling Daniel. Oh, now they know that Daniel exists. You see that, system with this? Now, after they couldn't get the answer from the fakers, the notarized fakes in society, then it said, then they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. So they didn't seek Daniel for information. They seek Daniel to kill him. Read the Bible, guys, and then look at what's going on in society. System with this. The people who got the answers don't get called on because people don't like truth tellers. Truth tellers is the one who they always want to punch in the mouth. A liar could get away with anything all day, every day. But anyway, again, I'm going to try not to rant. Let's go now, because Daniel ended up coming in, and Daniel said, you know what? Hey, give me a little time, king, and I'm going to show you your dream, and I'm going to tell you the interpretation. So let's skip down to verse 16 and continue reading. Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time, and that he would show the king the interpretation. Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and said thus unto him, I have found a man of the captives of Judah that will make known unto the king the interpretation. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen, and the interpretation thereof? Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king had demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers show unto the king. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets, and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream and the visions of thy head upon thy bed are these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, what should come to pass hereafter. And he that revealeth secrets maketh known to thee what shall come to pass. But as for me, the secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and that thou mightest know the thoughts of thy heart. I am so in love with this part here. You see how it said a secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living? Daniel gave the praises to God, and this is what I love about a true servant of God. He gave the praises to God because he knows it's not his wisdom. He knows the wisdom of the Lord. This is what I'm breaking out to you. Sisters and brothers, this is the wisdom of the Lord. But let's put that aside for now. Daniel is about to tell him this dream. So let's hear Daniel tell him this dream. Let's get into it. Thou, O king, sawest and behold a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible. This image head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, his belly and his thighs of brass, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. Thou sawest still that a stone was cut out without hand, which smote the image upon his feet, that were of iron and clay, and brake them to pieces. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them, and the stone that smote the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. Now let me explain this part for a minute. This stone here represents Jesus. The reason why it's smoting the image on the feet and it strike the image on the feet is because the time when Jesus coming, that's it. That's the era that we're going to be in, the era of the 10 toes. And I'm going to tell you something, sisters and brothers. We are currently in the era of the 10 toes. And you're going to find that out in part 4. So you stick around here. Don't worry. You're going to see how close we are to this thing coming. But anyway, this stone smote the image on the feet, sisters and brothers. And Daniel is about to explain it to him. So let Daniel do the talking. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven had given thee a kingdom and power and strength and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven had he given into thine hand, and had made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. So we see it in the scripture. Daniel said it verbatim. Thou art this head of gold, because Nebuchadnezzar represents the Babylonian Empire. So let's continue. And after thee shall rise another kingdom, inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. Now, the first one, it said, and after thee shall arise another kingdom. That's the Medo-Persian Empire. And then it said, after that, a third kingdom of brass. That's the Greek Empire, that shall rise and bear rule over all the earth. Let's continue though. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. That kingdom is the Roman Empire, specifically the Holy Roman Empire. That's coming, but let's continue reading. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with marly clay. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with marly clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. This is still the Roman Empire, sisters and brothers. Right now we're looking at the strength of Germany and the weakness of Luxembourg. But I'm going to explain more of that later on inside of the Part 4 series. This is talking about the Roman Empire. We're not talking about that today. We're talking about the Babylonian Empire. But this last part here, I want you to hear this part, okay? Because right now we are in the time of the Roman Empire. But let's read verse 44 real quick. Pay attention. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom, which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Sisters and brothers, we are in the days of these kings. I'm going to explain a little bit more on Nebuchadnezzar right now. And you're going to find out a little bit more about what happened to Nebuchadnezzar and why he's affiliated with a specific beast. All right? So let's get into it, because I want to make this real simple so you guys can understand. I know there's a lot of information that I'm leaving out because I want to make sure that you guys get the summary. So the summary of this scripture so far: Daniel came, give Nebuchadnezzar tell him his dream, and then explain to him the interpretation and let him know that, yo, 4 great kingdoms is going to rule this earth, and you is the head of gold. He said, thou art this head of gold. Now let's find out what happened to Nebuchadnezzar, because it's very important when you find out what happened to him. Let's go to Daniel 4. All this came upon King Nebuchadnezzar, and at the end of 12 months he walked in the palace of the kingdom of Babylon. The king spake and said, is not this great Babylon that I have built for the house of the kingdom by the might of my power and for the honor of my majesty? Now, I should have given you a little bit of context for this. I'm sorry. The context before this is that Nebuchadnezzar had another dream about the tree and the branches and so on. You could read this on your own, but the main part is why I had to read here. Nebuchadnezzar had a dream, and the Lord basically prophesied that, yo, the Lord basically is going to deal with Nebuchadnezzar because he getting put full up of his pride. But the dream is not important. What happened to Nebuchadnezzar is important. So let's see what happened here. Let's go to 31, because now what happened in the dream is going to actually happen to him. Let's go to verse 31. While the word was in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven saying, O King Nebuchadnezzar, to thee it is spoken, the kingdom is departed from thee, And they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field. They shall make thee to eat grass like oxen, and 7 times shall pass over thee, until thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will. Let me just say this real quick. This here is a lesson, sisters and brothers, to all of these kings that's going to come after Nebuchadnezzar. That no matter what's going on, sisters and brothers, and I want you to write this down, no matter what's going on, the Lord is still in charge. This is already called by God, sisters and brothers. Nothing is out of order. And you're going to see, the longer you stick around here, the more you're going to find out. I just had to say that. But let's go to verse 33. The same hour was the thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar, and he was driven from men, and did eat grass as oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hairs were grown like eagle's feathers, and his nails like bird's claws. And at the end of the days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted up mine eyes unto heaven, and mine understanding returned unto me, and I blessed the Most High, and I praised and honored him that liveth forever, whose dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom is from generation to generation. Kind of looked like somebody done repented. I mean, to me, it looked like somebody repented. Of all these kings that we're going to read about, Nebuchadnezzar is the only one that actually looked like he repented. The Lord turned around and slapped him down. I made him eat beasts, eat grass as oxen, and do all these stuff. And then when his mind returned to him, he blessed the Most High. Well, I don't know his heart. But the reason why I read this scriptures and brothers is because the next one I'm going to read is going to point out something that's going to be a key component in identifying what Nebuchadnezzar is attached to as well. We already know that he's the head of that beast, but he's also something else. So we see here Nebuchadnezzar was changed. He eating grass as oxen, his nails grew long, a whole bunch of stuff happened to him. All right, now let's go to Daniel chapter 5 and read Daniel telling Belshazzar about what happened to Nebuchadnezzar, what we just read. O thou king, the Most High God gave Nebuchadnezzar thy father a kingdom in majesty, in glory, and honor. And for the majesty that he gave him, all people, nations, and languages trembled and feared before him. Whom he would he slew, and whom he would he kept alive, and whom he would he set up, and whom he would he put down. Like I said, this is Daniel talking to Belshazzar, but pay close attention to what Daniel is going to say right now. Verse 20. But when his heart was lifted up, and his mind hardened in pride, he was despised from his kingly throne, and they took his glory from him. Nebuchadnezzar's heart, pay attention to the language. Nebuchadnezzar's heart was lifted up, and then they took his glory from him. Write that down. We're going to get back to that word heart, okay? Because that's a key component to understanding what's going to come after this. But let's continue with verse 21. And when he was driven from the sons of men, and his heart was made like the beast, and his dwelling was with the wild asses, they fed him with grass like oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till he knew that the Most High God ruled in the kingdom of men, and that he appointed over it whomsoever he will. So, sisters and brothers, Nebuchadnezzar's heart was lifted up, and then it was made like the beast. Now we're going to read Daniel 7, and we're going to see something here. I'm not going to say anything. Let's start from verse 1. Let's go. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. So this is in the time of Belshazzar. Belshazzar is either Nebuchadnezzar's son or his grandson. It doesn't matter. Either way, he's a descendant from King Nebuchadnezzar, and he's ruling just like Nebuchadnezzar was ruling, and Daniel was under him in his kingdom in his time, and he had this dream. Let's see what Daniel dreamed. Verse 2. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. And 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. So 4 beasts came up from the sea. Remember, it was prophesied to Nebuchadnezzar that 4 kingdoms is going to rule, right? Now, Daniel having a dream with 4 beasts rising up out of the sea. Let's see what the first beast is, okay? Verse 4. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made stand upon the feet as a man. And a man's heart was given to it. Sisters and brothers, this lion that have eagle's wings is also Nebuchadnezzar. Okay? So Daniel already told Nebuchadnezzar, thou art the head of gold of the statue, right, of the great image. But Nebuchadnezzar is also the lion that the heart was given to, that a man's heart was given to, because his heart was changed. And then the Lord changed his heart back to a man, right? So a heart was given to the beast. So that's why I said pay attention on the heart, because it's key in understanding who the lion is, okay? So let me give you guys a summary of today, so we're on the same page. 4 kingdoms are scheduled to rule the whole world in the order of Babylon, Medo-Persia, Greece, and Rome. They have to rule one after the other. We just broke down the first one, and we know who the first one is. Nebuchadnezzar is the first part of the great Babylonian image, the golden head of it, and the first beast in Daniel's vision, the lion. There's more, but we're going to break it down later on. But today, we're only talking about Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar. And there's an image, there's this graph, image drawing, whatever it is you want to call it, that I made, that we're going to follow along so we could keep a visual memory of what we're doing. So the lion that have eagle's wings is also that golden head, which is Nebuchadnezzar.